After a short break, the Warriors traveled to Minnesota to face the well-rested Timberwolves. Despite a hot start and Steph Curry going down the second quarter, it was Buddy Hield who extended his legendary Game 7 shooting streak, while the other superstar and Jimmy Butler controlled the pace and dictated the offense en route to a convincing Game 1 win. So let's break down their performances. The Warriors came out hot shooting from downtown. We have a pick and roll for Podziemski to attack with a strong left hand, and the Warriors play straight up and have Conley fight through. On the weak side, Golden State has pretty bad spacing here, with McDaniels glued to Steph and Hield cutting through. Minnesota game plan to put their rim protector in Rudy Gobert in the paint, guarding a non-shooter Jimmy Butler to start off, so the Warriors countered this coverage by having Curry point to the left corner, and then effectively setting an exit screen, knowing Gobert has got 2 feet in the paint. Jimmy takes his coverage and buries a catch-and-shoot opportunity. When Butler has the ball in isolation with the Warriors on the weak side, the main goal is to drive and kick. He has very little intention of shooting these unless they single coverage him, but almost every time he's going to command attention. With Jimmy having a mismatch, Gobert decides to completely ignore Draymond Green and sit in the restricted area in the drop coverage. Butler drives middle to preoccupy Gobert even further, but Naz Reid and McDaniels stay home to the shooters, ironically leaving the one guy open who was a flamethrower in the first quarter in Draymond Green. Kick out to the open man, and Naz Reid realizes a bit too late for this contest, and Green hits his 4th three-pointer. With Minnesota having arguably the worst first half of all time, the trio Draymond, Jimmy, and Buddy were dissecting the defense. On an out-of-bounds play, Dre's got the ball and looks at the strong side. Because he was hot from downtown, Gobert now has to play up and pressure the ball. Jimmy and Buddy get confused here before Jimmy telling him to set the back screen, and the Wolves fully miscommunicate by not switching. Conley is focused on Buddy's shooting ability, and Randle simply gets caught on the pick. Backdoor cut and no help from the weak side, and it's a nice bounce pass for the open dunk. Buddy Hield continues legendary Game 7 performance against the Rockets by letting it fly. I saw some stat where when Steph Curry's out, Buddy magically shoots better. I feel like it has something to do with his confidence and knowing that the team is relying on his three-point shooting, so he thinks about it less. On a semi-fast break, Randle tells Conley to pick up Podziemski so he can find Buddy. The problem is, Randle is a pretty lazy off-ball defender. Hield jukes him by fake going for the dribble handoff and fully losing the defender before countering and flaring back to the left wing. Draymond's got that chemistry within, and Buddy knocks down a wide-open three-pointer. The Wolves not only could not make layups, but they were out of sorts on the defensive end. With GP2 leading the break on the right side, Conley tells McDaniel to pick him up so they can guard 2-on-2. Mike Conley is a great veteran, but he makes a defensive mistake here of sitting too far close to the paint, try to guard a potential non-shooter in GP2, and forgetting he has a lethal catch-and-shoot guy one pass away. Payne makes the right play, and this long closeout just is not good enough as Buddy hits another one in rhythm. Here Butler's got the ball up top, looking at the down screen set by Draymond to free up Hield. The Wolves are still not switching, so Buddy is able to come off the curl and attack off the catch. He sees that he has all his left hand to use, and with the weak side Wolves staying home and not helping, Buddy simply uses his size and strength to back down a smaller Conley, and creates just enough space to go into his patented left dribble step back midi. Gets the contact on the arm as well. The Rockets' defense was so much more physical, plus they switched the majority of the time, especially on ball. Buddy and Jimmy run a ball screen at the logo, but Butler ghosts it at the last second. This confuses the Wolves' perimeter defenders, allowing Buddy to get a step on Nickeil Alexander-Walker with his left hand. McDaniels is hesitant on coming over to help, giving Hield a straight line drive. Ant stays glued to the restricted area, and Buddy finishes a tough left-hand scoop layup, looking like Curry out here. Seriously, with Steph out, Buddy was really looking like the reincarnation of Klay Thompson. He first attacks the closeout by shot faking and getting by. Dante and Reed both come down to rotate, and now McDaniels has a 2 weak side Warriors. Kick out to the open man and forces another closeout, and I want to highlight Pat Spencer here. Shout out to Spencer for providing some solid physical minutes at the point guard position last night. Instead of trying to relocate himself to the corner, at the very last second he sees that a much better shooter in Buddy Hield is going to the same spot. This is team basketball and high IQ at its core, and Spencer immediately turns around to set an exit screen on Buddy's original man in Alexander Walker. This prevents the defender from contesting and gives Buddy an extra half second to shoot this wide open relocation 3. What a team play here. Butler came back to dictate the offense by keeping it simple. Let's just focus on drawing double teams and kicking it out. Jimmy first tries to go baseline on a good defender McDaniels. Naz Reid comes to rotate off of Kuminga as a low man, but in my opinion this was unnecessary since McDaniels has Jimmy locked up by using the baseline as another defender. Now with Pods cutting to the middle and taking DiVincenzo out of the play, Kuminga relocates to the weak side corner to make this kick out pass easier. This forces the long closeout by Reid, and I'm sure the Wolves will live with this shot, but JK finally gets a bucket. I swear all Jimmy Butler does is drive and kick, but it's so efficient. With Butler drawing a double in this pick and roll, you just can't let him get by you if you're Rudy Gobert. The Wolves' weak side defenders both turn back towards the shooters, and Pods tries to run a ghost screen with Buddy. That's the difference between the Rockets defenders and the Wolves. I felt like the Rockets were so much more in sync with these automatic switches, and here Reid almost runs into McDaniels, so when Jimmy finally runs a dribble handoff with Buddy, McDaniels is left chasing a few feet behind. The DHO also acts as a screen where Buddy comes off to find Rudy Gobert in a drop coverage. Still a decent contest from behind, but the Warriors have a replacement Steph Curry. There is something about Golden State shooters coming off of screens finding Gobert in drop coverages. Handoff by Looney and Buddy comes off to find Rudy in a drop. Edwards does a great job contesting from behind, forcing Buddy to pass into midair. Butler's able to grab and attack past DiVincenzo, getting an advantage. If you're a former DPOY, I just don't get why you have Jimmy Butler coming at you, and instead of rotating fully, you try to stunt instead and try to play Looney, who's not even at the free throw line. No contest and Butler rises up for a floater. Shocking, another driving kick with Jimmy Butler. Here he sees that Randle is leaving his man in GP2 in the corner and sitting in the paint, so he takes Reid off the dribble to the middle of the court. With Ant turning around to help, Randle is now focused on Draymond for a dump-off pass. Jimmy drives to the teeth of the defense, jump stops off 2 feet like always, and then just kicks it out to the wide open man. Long closeout by Randle, and this was a huge 3 by GP2 to make them pay. For the dagger, let's focus on another miscommunication by the Wolves. 2 stagger screens for Jimmy to get the switch on the bigger but slower Naz Reid. On the weak side, GP2 signals to Buddy so he himself can come up higher as the better shooter with closer proximity to the ball handler. The problem is, Ant first turns around and still sits at the elbow to help on the drive, but he and McDaniels failed to communicate on the switch again. So when Butler sees an open Buddy coming off from the left wing, McDaniels yells way too late, giving Ant a much longer closeout 1 pass away, and Buddy Hield hits a dagger. There you guys have it. The Warriors won an extremely impressive Game 1 on the road, not only having fewer days of rest, but also losing their superstar in the first half. It was the combined effort of the Golden State defense, the dissecting ability of Jimmy Butler, and the shooting of Draymond Green and Buddy Hield that helped the Dubs build a big lead and keep the Wolves at bay. Buddy Hield looked like a Steph Curry replacement, continues his hot shooting by knocking down relocation threes and spacing the floor, while Jimmy almost had a triple-double, carrying the Warriors' offense in multiple ways down the stretch. With their Batman out, it was Robin and Alfred who stole a game with their brilliance. Just hoping we get some good news on Steph's day-to-day hamstring injury, and hoping for a competitive Game 2 as well. If you guys like this breakdown, like and subscribe to see more.